welcome back. My musical guest is a guitar icon in the blues industry. He's a master at blues guitar. He played in a band called the Blues Breakers. He's currently on tour making his way through Las Vegas. I'd like to welcome Mr. Coco Montoya. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine, my man.
All right.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Thank you for having me by.
Sure. Tell us about yourself for those people who are novice listeners of the blues. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I don't know. All I can say is started out as a drummer back in the day when I was a young boy. And ended up playing drums with Albert Collins, a blues guitarist from Texas. Called him the master of the Telecaster. I played with him for a long time. And graduated to guitar, just made this strange metamorphosis into a guitar player, and John Mayall picked me up from there. So I spent 10 years with John Mayall, and
wow.
Then I've been doing my career since '93. So
what does the blues mean to you?
the blues means just freedom of the heart and the expression of the heart. You know, it has nothing to do with anything. You know, I find some musics can be very much about thinking. You think it through. You know, it's up here in the cerebral. You know, and I find
like certain, like which types, like country music?
No, not so much country. Is more like a jazz thing or a fusion thing. You know, it's kind of a thought thing.
Okay, okay.
I'm not one of those players, so they could probably disagree with me. But I think blues is simplicity, and it's just about things that people feel.
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling thing. It's really what it is.
Where did the blues start? Like from your perspective, like historical. Can you give us a historical kind of view?
You know, you probably really need to go to some people that have really studied way back. I'm not a real authority on all of it, but it's an American-made music. It's made here in America. It was originated here in America by the slaves in the fields and such. But it's probably the basis. I would think it is the basis for all American music: rock and roll, jazz, country, everything I can think of, bluegrass. All that stuff is based off of blues.
And there's certain different regions of where this started. Like you have Texas blues.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like a language, isn't it? You know, it's kind of like accents, and you go to different regions, and it's just played a certain way, you know, and it kind of develops its own character, you know, in the way it's expressed. So, yeah, very regionally. I mean, you got Chicago blues, you got Texas blues, you know, you got the real acoustic, the old Delta stuff, you know, down south, and of course you got the whole New Orleans influence, which is a whole different mixed bag too, you know.
Yeah. When I think of the blues, I think of B.B. King, people like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Who do you think of inspiration-wise? I know you were talking about
Albert Collins, definitely number one.
And John Mayall.
But it runs a wide spectrum. You know, when you start thinking of inspirations, I can go everybody from John Mayall, Eric Clapton, you know, down to B.B., but then going all the way to you know, Johnny Shines, people like that, you know, Robert Johnson and such, and and then some of the people, you know, like Pee Wee Crate, and people that I've, you know, had personal, you know, meetings with and have played with and stuff, Lowell Fulson. You know, that to me is you know, for every player, it's pretty much their personal experiences with some of the greats. And in my age group and the guys that have been playing this music, we were blessed to actually play with a lot of these originators of the music.
Now, did you ever play with Eric Clapton? Because I understand he was in the group that you got into, the Blues Breakers.
Yeah, only see, Eric was in there, I think, in 1966, and I can get into John's band until May of '84. So,
okay.
So yeah, we're in the same school, but at different times.
Okay.
But no, I never played with Eric. Never actually met the man either. He is, though he is probably a really major influence on me, and always will be. I've always been a big fan, and I looked to him, you know, as I was growing up a lot, just looking to him to learn the way to go. He was my window. He was the person that said.
So that's who you listened to as a kid?
Yeah, oh yeah. Growing up, I was listening to, discovering him with John and discovering him with, you know, with Cream. And at that point in time is when you find these interviews with Eric, and he would immediately be pointing to Albert King, you know, Freddie King. He would immediately point to Robert Johnson and all these people where he was getting these things, you know, like, you know, he was trying immediately to prevent people saying, well, Eric Clapton wrote Crossroads, you know. Things like that. Cream wrote Born Under Bad Side. People, you know, they did the song, but people didn't really know, you know, that was Albert King who did that song before. You know, he didn't write it, but he did it. you know, and then Robert Johnson was the writer of Crossroads. So he was somebody that took probably the stance that I think most and every blues player I know of will always try and educate and redirect people to where the origins of the music.